So I just picked this tree. I got about 5 boxes of Mirabella plum. It's a really nice commercial-sized plum. And anything that we don't harvest has a good chance of coming up as seedlings, and we can dig those up and sell them. Right now there's more garlic to harvest underneath, kind of a wild weed garlic. Here's a mulberry that's been fruiting for several months and just finishing up. These are my favorite mulberries here. This is a sweet pit apricot, and it's ready to harvest. This is a very unique fruit because you can actually eat the kernel inside here, and the seed inside. That's not the seed. Eat it like an almond because it's low in laethyl, but this is a very beautiful, delicious commercial-sized apricot. And it's just loaded. And all the ones that are on the ground will get mulched, and then we'll sell those as seedlings in our nursery. I can see there's still mulberries here. And we have about 6 or 7 large mature trees, some to 40, 50 feet tall, that are still fruiting. So this tree is a Highlands pear, and it had some fire blight, so we cut it back and it suckers up. Then I start to graft different varieties onto it. I think I have about 7 or 8 varieties grafted on, just as add the diversity to our pear selection. Also, we can sell cyanwood in the spring for about 10 or 15 different kinds of pears. Here's a cherry, sour cherry tree. Honey locust. And back in here is a huge patch of elderberries, which is starting to flower, and we'll be making an elderberry syrup out of those. So we're in the area here that's got a pear, an apple overstory, and a plum midstory. You can see there's 4 plums here. These are the early Italian plums, which will be coming a bit later, which is a nice, things tend to time lapse, that we're not having all the fruit at one time. Yeah, we have more pears here. You can see there are about 5 different kinds of pears in here. And raspberries. This apple tree was used as a practice tree, so it has about 5 different varieties of apples grafted onto it. And it's mostly winter apples. These are all the pears up here that are overstory. On the garden bench here, there are 3 varieties of grapes, plus the raspberries. And then nettles on the overflow there. I harvest a lot of nettles. And the pond is taken over by duckweed right now. And that area up above the pond is zone 6B, because we are zone 6 here, even though we're at 7,200 feet. That gets double sun when the duckweed's not there, and reflects up onto those big stone terraces. and that becomes a zone 6B where there are, you can see there are pears, blackberries, hazelnuts, hardy pecan, sweet hawthorn, things, Cornina cherries, things that need more ripening time do well over there. Fortunate to have this microclimate here. And then we create other microclimates within our little 1 acre forest garden with a pond. And we were just eating blackberries that wouldn't ripen if they weren't above the pond. It gets double sun onto the rocks and the mulberries hanging over the rocks. So all that stuff gets lined up as part of design. Some of it by accident, some of it's by design. Typical, so we have 150 varieties of fruits. Generally we get 60%, 70%. Now we have 100% this year, except for that one tree. This mulberry's been fruiting for almost 4 months. These raspberries have been fruiting now for 2 or 3 weeks. They'll be fruiting for another month. They're golden raspberries. They found their way up on this walkway here, and
That's so good.
we catch all the water off our roofs and use it for beneficial, either for a nursery, for greenhouses. This catches the roof water from the northern roofs, which in the spring was a snow melt, and this fills up, every time. It fills up all spring long with about a foot of snow, and then we just use it, gravity feed down into the greenhouses or the nursery. It's handy to have water everywhere, and using we have irrigation water, we have spring water, we have roof catchment water, we have gray water. So as many water sources as you can have.
It's a nice big tank.
And we
too,
store
huh?
a lot, and we store a lot of water in the ground. So sometimes we have grown, in the book you'll see we've grown in this greenhouse for 20 years. It's a $200 greenhouse. But this year we took off the growing season, and we turned it into a worm farm. And so we have, this is the second layering of worm material, of organic, stuff from the kitchen, from Vitamin Cottage. You see the worms here?
Oh yeah.
They're eating this layer of rotten organic material with some horse manure. Spent vegetables from Vitamin Cottage. And see, they're covered again, and then that's moist, and this all becomes worm castings.
Like that.
And I can sell worms, and worm castings, we use it in our nursery, in our compost tea. So again, every place is a worm farm here. But this is, in the tents, we do worm farms in the pathways, we do it in the beds, we do it in the forest garden, we do it in buckets. Yeah, all it has antiviral. This plant here is antiviral, antigenic, antimicrobial, antifungal, and its immune system, Spilanthes. We tincture about $1,500 worth of this a year, and sell it. And you can eat the leaves in salad, or you can just tincture them, or you can nibble on the bud. And it's an understory plant. It's tropical.
Oh really?
So you can.
What's that one called?
Spilanthes.
Spilanthes?
Yeah. Then we have not cucumbers in here. We have tomatoes, peppers. Comfrey is a mulch plant. We use this about 5 different ways. For animal food, for mulch, for making cheese outside, for salves, pulses. Again, it's for animal food, I said. So any aromatics you put as understory, midstory are going to help with your beneficial overall health of the greenhouse. The brush against this, or the breezes come in. Rosemary and thyme has a really aromatic flavors. And insects don't bother to eat that. I don't like the smell of it. So if you have broccoli in the whole greenhouse, well, there's nothing to deter them.
Yeah.
And there's no beneficial flowers to feed the beneficials. So you always have to have a good mix, a balance of what we call banker plants, host plants, so that the beneficials can actually feed on the pollen plus lay their eggs on the backside of the leaves. Like we have the lacewings like to lay their eggs on the backside of the leaves, and they hang down on little strings.
And what's this
We have
one?
lots of lacewings. This is Pakistani mulberry. This fruits in April. But that leaf could be used as a wrap, or it could be fed to silkworms, or it could be fed to rabbits. So we can
Right.
grow our own mulch in here. This is a nitrogen fixing, similar to the Siberian peacoat, but it's leucaena, tropical. We also sell the seed, use the seed for our agroforestry, use that as chop and drop, or also feed it to the animals. And again, it's just like a mid-story in the agroforestry. So we have the leucaena here that needs to be cut back again. We just cut all of the chayote out of here, and now there's a grape that's left in here. This is a new Crmpi, a new citrus plant, which needs to be mulched again. But here's the grape. This is white blooming jasmine. Now this has been in here for 10 years, and it's just starting to flower again. It's like 3 times a year this will come on, and it'll just knock you out.
Wow,
For
cool.
about a week or 10 days.
Uh-huh.
Microbes, and the soil food web has the right environment to keep the whole process going. That's the key to perennial and any gardening, really, because there's no end and there's no beginning. That's the stream of consciousness gardening that I like to practice. Because annual gardening has a beginning and an end. And here there's no beginning and end. It's always just kind of revolving. So this will become fruit, and then organic matter for the next crop. Some of it might even reseed itself. And it's always building soils. We never have to haul in that much material. We'll haul in about 6 inches of leaves, a little bit of rabbit manure, and that's about it every year. And then the whole process just keeps working out on its own. And we always get these little volunteers, little surprises coming in, like the borage.